Today's teaching is the creation era, Genesis 1 to 11. For far from the lands of every day out in the distance, curves of the universe lay strange and fantastic realms, unlike anything in our wildest dreams. Hidden by the barriers of time and space, they have lived forever beyond the reach of man, unknown and unexplained. But now, just now, the cosmic veils have begun in life a little. Man has had his first glimpses of these once secret domains, and their bizarre ways have left him stunned. They challenge his every notions of matter and energy. Along with Alice in Wonderland, he says, once one can't believe impossible things, and impossible indeed they seem to be, in those far reaches of the universe, in those bewildering worlds are far places where a teaspoon of matter weighs as much as 200 million elephants, where a tiny whirling star winks on and off 30 times a second, where a small mysterious object shines with the brilliance of 10 million suns, where matter and light are continuously sucked up by devouring black holes never to be seen again. Small wonder that the late British scientist JBS Haldane could say the universe is not only stranger than we suppose, but stranger than we can suppose. We used to think that the universe was simply our Milky Way galaxy. Today we know that galaxies are common as hidden of grass in a meadow. The number perhaps 100 billion. How does one comprehend the incredible size of this galaxy-filled universe for such awesome distances? Scientists and astronauts think in terms of time, and they use the telescope as a time machine. They measure space by a unit called the light year. The distance light travels in 1 year at the rate of 186.282 miles per second, about 6 million miles, from National Geographic, May 1974. If you could shout, Sean, shoot a gun whilst bullet would travel around the world at the speed of light, the bullet would go around the world and pass through you even 7 times in 1 second. Perhaps more than anything else, the mystery and the immensity of the universe capture our imagination and incite in us a fascination about the subject of creation. There are countless unknown and just as many unbelievables as we begin to explore the creation era. We will adapt a pattern that will be followed throughout the remainder of this section. You will review the main era, central figure, and the main location you learned in the last chapter. You will read a brief storyline summary of the events of that era, built around the central figure with a three-world theme of each summary appearing in heraldics. Then you will be asked to review those 3 words to fill in the blanks. You will read an expansion of the summary of the events of that era. So we review the repetition is the key to mental ownership. Fill in the blanks for this era. Story of the Old Testament, the era, the figure, the location, and the storyline summary to be completed in this chapter. The storyline and the summary: Adam is created by God, but he sins and destroys God's original plan for man. The era is the creation. Adam is created by God, but he fill in the blank, and fill in the blank, God's original fill in the blank for man. Secondly, the expansion. There are 4 major events within the creation era. They are the accounts of 1, the creation, 2, full, 3, flood, and 4, the Tower of Babel. Now, the creation was created in the magic of God, Genesis 1-2. After a dramatic display of power in creating the heavens and the earth, God creates man. When Genesis chapter 1 uses the word man, it includes both man and woman. Man in the content has the sense of mankind or humankind. Adam and Eve are created in the image of God in perfect fellowship and harmony with Him, living in an idyllic setting in the Garden of Eden. They are individual, but a spiritual and personal likeness. Man is a spirit and will live forever. He has intellect, emotion, and will. He has understanding of divine being God with a moral sense of right and wrong. He is a creative being. There are some characteristics of God that are shared by man, and in this sense, man is created in the magic of God. Now, secondly, sin entered the world, Genesis 3. Satan, appearing in the form of serpent, lures Adam and Eve into rebelling against God and violating the one prohibition God had given them not to eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. As a consequence, they are driven out of the Garden of Eden, and a curse falls on all creation. When Adam and Eve rebel, sin enters the world. All the pain, all the evil, all the suffering endured by mankind for all time can be traced to that one act, which is therefore appropriately called the fall of man. Thirdly, the flood, judgment for sin, Genesis 6-10, over the next several hundred years as man multiplies in numbers, so his tendency to sin multiplies until a time comes when God can find only 8 people who are willing to live in a righteous relationship with Him: Noah, his wife, his 3 sons and their wives. So in judgment for sin, God performs surgery on the human race, cutting out the cancerous tissue as it were, and leaving behind the healthy tissue to restore itself. He does this by sending a worldwide flood which destroys mankind except for Noah and his family, who are saved in Noah's Ark. Fourth, the tower beginning of the nations, Genesis 11. God's profound mandate to man was to spread our popular and subdue the whole earth. In direct disobedience to that command, man stay in one place and begin building a monument to himself, the Tower of Babel. God causes this large congregation of people to begin speaking different languages. Lack of communication prevents them from further progress on the tower, and the people of each tongue dispense to the four corners of the earth, and from the beginning of the nation of the world as we know them today. Now let's do a self-test. What you can learn tomorrow is built on what you learn today. So A, the four main events of the creation era. Write the correct number in the blank from the option on the right. So the events are creation, write down the number, which is the judgment for sin. Secondly, the event is fall, write down the number beginning of the nations for the description. Then the flood, write down the number of the sin entered the world. And lastly, the tower, the number and the man in the image of God. And that's all for today. Thank you.